Hey guys, Gaming Techie's wife here. Bet you didn't think he had a wife. In fact, I know most of you didn't think he had a wife. But she's here, ready and excited to review the 2016 Razer Blade Pro late model. Story and legend has it that he picked it up a couple weeks ago. In fact, I bought it for him a couple weeks ago as a present because I rock. So what I'm going to do today is walk you guys through the benchmarks, look and feel of the laptop. We're going to go down to the nitty gritty. We're going to talk about screen. We're going to talk about battery. We're going to talk about fan. We're going to talk about audio. And we might even talk about your feelings. So stay tuned and thanks. All right, so we're going to talk about right now CPU and GPU. So the GPU has a full GTX 1080 in it with 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is pretty awesome because it's still a fully functioning laptop, but just super powered. The GPU doesn't get hotter than 75 degrees Celsius. It mostly stays around 72 to 73 degrees Celsius. It maxes out at 1850 megahertz, and its memory maxes out at 5006 megahertz. So what you need to understand is it's still a fully functioning laptop that performs even at the highest settings very well for all the most popular games. So what does that mean? Dishonored 2, for example, we're at 35 FPS, Witcher 3, 30 FPS, CSGO, 90 FPS. So you can still max out all the settings for all your fun games and the most popular games, and it still performs super, super well. The CPU has an i7 6700 HQ, which is pretty awesome. However, the CPU gets a little hot, even performing at our max settings with the games that we just walked through for the GPU. We max out at 81 degrees Celsius. Again, not ideal for such an expensive laptop. You don't want it to get so hot, but it is performing very well at the highest settings for all those popular games that I just mentioned. So we are going to max out at 81 degrees Celsius for the CPU. It has a Cinebench with OpenGL of 98.69, which is awesome, and the CPU is at 639. So all in all, it's an amazing laptop in terms of GPU and CPU. Like I said earlier, we would want to make sure that we're not getting too hot with the CPU, but at 81 degrees Celsius, you really can't go wrong for such a high-performing luxury laptop. Okay, we're going to talk about the screen, which is gorgeous. My big ass eyes can see everything on this screen. The blues are the blues, the whites are the whites. It's incredible. The screen is crystal clear. You are getting what you pay for, especially with this screen. It's 4K, 60 hertz, IGZO screen. For content creators, we're at 100% RGB. For your gamers, the G-Sync is incredible. It helps control the frame rates. It's got that buttery feel, and I love butter, and I put butter on everything, so it's amazing. It's no PWM tested with cell phone for flicker, which is awesome. I'm not sure really on the touch screen. I've used it a couple times. I think it does come in handy when I'm pointing at things, and I like to point at things. So it does work in that aspect, but I'm not sure if I'm not going to give presentations or I'm not going to pull up a deck, it's really not going to come in handy for me, and I don't think it would come in handy really for a gamer, but for a content creator, I think you're going to find really good use with this. So the keyboard is amazing. I think it's an incredible keyboard. I'm a huge fan of mechanical keyboards. It makes me sound even more aggressive when I'm typing simple emails, so I love it even more so. The trackpad is one of the best that I personally ever used. The clicks and the gestures work really great. I do want to point out one thing. If you are a lefty, this is not for you. This trackpad is on the right. It is hard to use with my left hand, and even if you're ambidextrous, which some of you may be, it's still hard to use on the left side. So I would say if you're a lefty, you probably want to steer away from it. But from a right-hand perspective, it's awesome. It's one of the first mechanical low-profile keyboards in the market, which is pretty cool. RGB lighting, so if you want to use puke green, you can use puke green. The sound itself, it's just fun. It's fun to type like this. It's fun to hear what you're typing. It makes you feel like you're back in the 80s for some of you that weren't born back in the 80s, but it makes you feel like you're using one of those laptops. Again, one of the best clicks and gestures I've ever used. It's very smooth. easy to use, doesn't actually attract a lot of crap unless you put a lot of crap on it. But I will tell you, if you just flip over your own keyboard, you'll see how much shit is underneath there. This doesn't really like capture and doesn't have really the space to do that, which is awesome. It's a beautiful machine, nice and sleek, and really works well. Let's talk a little bit about the battery life. So you're not going to want to be away from a power source for a long period of time. This is a gaming laptop, so keep that in mind. This isn't, you know, built to run for 3-4 hours for you while you're typing up papers in school or working on long presentations. Gaming, you have about 30 to 45 minutes. You can stretch it if you lower some of your settings. For your intense workload, you have about 2 hours max. 2.5, I would say, again, depending on your settings, but for just basic workload, 2 hours. Basic usage with battery saver on, 180 minutes, 120 to 180 minutes. So that's, again, changing your settings, lowering the brightness, doing all the basic things that I know all of you were taught. You get about a 120 to 180 minutes, which is pretty good. Remember, gaming laptop, not used for you to use it and leave it on for 3-4 hours at a time. Because of G-Sync, there's no Optimus, which leads to that limited battery usage. And it's not just this laptop, it's any laptop with G-Sync. So let's not discriminate. It's a great laptop, it has great battery use, but because of that G-Sync, it has no Optimus, which then would limit your battery usage. And that's in every G-Sync filled laptop. So just keep that in mind. So I'm an audiophile, and I'm pretty snobbish when it comes to my audio, my music quality. I will say that the speakers are really excellent. They're really good. They have decent highs and decent lows for a very thin laptop. The sound goes out and up. So especially when you're gaming, you want to keep that in mind. It's quiet during everything but gaming. When you're gaming, you're going to want to use gaming headphones. For gaming, it really does get pretty loud. It has a quiet profile at 57 decibels and a cool profile at 64 decibels. So this is not really a silent laptop in any way, shape, or form, especially with gaming. You're going to hear that fan. You're going to hear that noise. So you want to just invest in really good gaming headphones. Like I said, I am an audio snob, so the sound quality is pretty excellent, but it does go out and up, so keep that in mind. It does have 2 tiny speakers on the side, and then it has its standard speakers that make the noise go up. So for basic usage, for browsing the internet, basic limited use, you're fine, but once you hit the gaming standard, it gets loud, so keep that in mind. All right, guys, so we're coming towards the end of this review, and we're going to talk about what I think, what Gaming Techie thinks, who's it right for, who's it wrong for, and why you shouldn't buy it for your mother. So what do I think? It's awesome. I love it. Gaming Techie loves it. For years, we've been looking for a laptop that you can play most of your games that is as thin as this baby, on its max settings with 4K. I mean, you want a luxury product, you got a luxury product. I game with headphones, so I really don't mind the noise. I know Gaming Techie games with headphones, so he doesn't mind the noise either. The heat, like I said originally, the heat is mostly under control. Just keep in mind that CPU. It doesn't thermal throttle, which is awesome. And it has plenty of storage. Who is it wrong for? Your mom. Let's be real here. This is a luxury product. You're not going to get, you know, this is not the best money that you could apply towards a good gaming laptop. If you want the best bang for your buck, check out MSI, check out ASUS, you know, check out Acer. There's a bunch of other options you have that will really meet your needs. But if you're looking for top of the line, luxurious, slim, mechanical keyboard, great screen, 4K, this is your product. You don't want to, if people care about, you know, the size or the battery, like I said earlier, you only have about 45 minutes when you're gaming and about 60 to 120 minutes when you're just using it for basic usage. And at the lowest settings, at the most basic settings, you have 180 minutes. So, you know, you really want to keep that in mind that you're not going to have the best battery life. But again, it's a gaming luxury laptop, so keep that in mind. And again, I did mention that it gets louder. So once you start to game, that fan kicks up and it becomes pretty loud. So if you have a problem with that, or, you know, if you're sharing a room with your roommate and you only got one place to game, it would probably be annoying for that person. Who's it right for? People who want that slim machine that can play most games at 4K with its max settings. So, I mean, people who want to really push technology, laptops, and gaming to a limit, this product is for you. People who have way too much money and want something really nice, this laptop is for you because this was way too much money. But it's, you know, it's a fun product and it's a luxurious product. And if you're really serious about gaming and technology, this is a worthwhile investment for you. And someone who needs a really good, you know, mechanical keyboard and trackpad, again, this is for you. So, and if you want to use that fancy touchscreen and impress that person in your life, this is for you. But like I said, you know, to be in all seriousness, this is a very expensive laptop. You want to make sure you're investing wisely. And if you are looking for the best bang for your buck, this isn't for you. But if you are looking for top of the line, the best gaming product out there for portability reasons, for even just gaming reasons, this is for you. This is a wonderful laptop. It's beautifully built. It's a beautiful color, slim, sleek, blends in. So again, it's the best laptop we've seen on the market. 4K, incredible. I can't believe technology is where it is now, and I'm excited to see other things that other companies are going to try to produce or compete with in terms of this laptop. And give it a shot. Like and subscribe, Gaming Techie, and I'm his wife for those that didn't believe this, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.